Hey folks, Grumpy here. Welcome back to the channel. You know, one of the things that makes Weber Kettle so cool is the fact you have a number of different devices you can use with it. As a matter of fact, I've even shown you a few of those devices in the videos I've done over the last year or so. But today we're going to hone in on the top 3 most popular or most used devices. Now, what makes it the most popular or the most used is the fact that they make it possible to cook most anything you want to cook on the Weber Kettle, whether you want to grill it or you want to smoke it. So whether you're just now considering getting a kettle, or you've had one for a little while, or you've had one for a long time and you need some new ideas or new tools and ideas to use, this video is for you. So I will go over the different devices, show you how they work, and let you decide whether or not there's something you could use. For our first device, let's look at the Slow and Sear and the Smoke and Sizzle. 2 very different devices, but they do the exact same thing. They turn your kettle into a smoker. Now, first to market was the Slow and Sear. It came to market about 2016, and I love this thing. I've used it regularly ever since it came out and had great success with it. But then in 2023 came the Smoke and Sizzle. Now, I like the Smoke and Sizzle too. It works very, very well. One of the things that makes it very appealing is that it's cheaper than the Slow and Sear. And I do like the functionality of it a little bit better as well. But let me tell you up front, I do get a small commission if you use the link in my description for this device, but you get a 10% discount as well. So kind of be upfront about that. But I do like that device better, and here's the reason why. This device is one piece. That's all you need right here. You got it all. With the Slow and Sear, the Slow and Sear requires you to have the water trough and also a drip pan on the other side of your kettle. Here I can just grab this and go. Now, is that a big deal? No, but it's still yet a deal I have to deal with. So I can grab this thing and go, and it makes it wonderful and easy to work with. So speaking of how do they work, well, I've got a video I put out a few months ago that was very popular. I'll put some clips on the video here for you to see and watch and see how these things work. Guys, here we are with the Slow and Sear getting it set up, and this is the device here. We're going to put, take it out of here for a second to show you it. I put it, it goes into 1/2 of the kettle, slides up under there. We're going to start the charcoal I've got here in this basket. I'm in the lighter chimney. Take some of the half of those and put them in here once they get lit and grate over and you know, well burning. Put half of them about here in the corner, and then fill the rest of the Slow and Sear up with charcoal. Fill the water tray here with water. Put a grate on, and then, or I'm sorry, before we put the grate on, we'll put this drip pan on this other side where the chimney is right now. It'll be underneath there to actually cook over top of it. So that'll be your drip pan, your catch pan. But we'll also, of course, we'll add these wood chunks throughout the charcoal as well, so we get some good smoke flavor. This is post oak wood. We'll use that to get some good flavor on there. So now I'll show you how we set up the Smoke and Sizzle. So the Smoke and Sizzle is a little easier setup. It's just this one piece. This is the water pan, as you know, and I told you previously this is where the water goes, and also your drip pan catches. You fill this out over here with charcoal. So I'll take half those charcoals we light in the chimney, put half in that one corner, either corner, and fill the rest up with charcoal, and of course wood blocks, post oak as well. Put our grate over top of it, we're ready to go. Now you saw there in the video clips how much I emphasized the need for wood chunks to be mixed in with your charcoal. Those wood chunks play a pivotal role in producing some top quality smoked meat because of the convection that the Weber Kettle can create with its vent system. The wood chunks supply some very nice smoke flavor onto your meat. The convection pulls that heat and smoke across the kettle, hitting your meat before escaping out the vent, right? Now, is it the same convection you're going to get off of an offset smoker? No, absolutely not. You can't duplicate the kind of convection on anything other than an offset smoker. But you can still produce some really good meat on the Weber Kettle with the convection you get with it. Now, of course, the amount of money you're going to save by using a Weber Kettle in one of these devices is absolutely substantial when it comes compared to an offset smoker, right? But an offset smoker might not be in your budget, of course, and that's okay, especially if you're only cooking a pork butt, you know, twice in the summer or something. Sure, offset smokers are fun to have, nice to use, but they certainly aren't necessary to get good quality meat. And the learning curve with offset smokers is pretty substantial. So that's one of the trade-offs. You get a Weber Kettle combo, kettle and a device here, for a lot less money than an offset would cost, but you're not getting quite the flavor you'd get with an offset. But like I said, the cost difference is substantial, and it may make it worth the difference for a backyard barbecue. Okay. Now for our second device, let's take the Weber Kettle back to its roots. When it was first developed in the 1950s, it was intended to be a grill. We've turned it into a lot of different things since then, rotisseries, smoker, all sorts of different things. But this next device, I think, helps make the Weber Kettle produce the absolute best grilled chicken, period. Say hello to the Vortex. Now, Now, the Vortex, if you have a Weber kettle, you may already be familiar with the Vortex. You may even already have one. This thing is absolutely the most popular, widely popular device to use for chicken. It does a great job with pretty much any part of the chicken, whether it's the thighs or the wings, or the legs, breasts, or tenders, or whatever the case may be. But now, make no mistake about it, it's not just for chicken. You can do steaks and hamburgers and such, but whatever you do cook with it, you got to make sure it can withstand some pretty high heat, because that's what you're going to create here. Now, what I like about the Vortex is it utilizes what I call directly indirect heat. I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. But let's first look at a video how to use the Vortex. Here we go. So here's the Vortex, and down in the grill we have our little lighter cube. Now what I'll do is I will take this charcoal chimney, put it in here, light the charcoal, let it burn and get gray and ashed over, and then replace it with the Vortex, and then pour the charcoal down into it that's lit. We'll then put our grate on, and I've only got about 5 or 6 chicken thighs. It's just me, so I'll put those around the grill, on the grate, all the way around, and it'll cook. Now when I put the lid on, the heat in the Vortex comes right in the middle, and it domes over and cooks that chicken all around. Now, as I showed in the video clip, the heat cascades down on top of the meat based on the shape. Let me show you. Of the dome. The heat comes up from the Vortex right in the center and domes down and cascades, mushrooms, whatever you want to call it, onto your meat, right? And that helps create top-down cooking. Now, to get top-down cooking on a grill, any kind of grill, is hard to do. Think about it. Charcoal is usually on the bottom. How do you create top-down with charcoal underneath? The Vortex does exactly that. That, in my opinion, is what makes the Vortex such a great device. It creates high heat, but yet still cooks indirectly. So you get the temperatures of direct cooking, but you get the effect of indirect cooking. And that's what I mean when I say directly indirect. So cooking directly indirect and with a top-down effect, you get what I think is the absolute best chicken. As a matter of fact, I recently competed in my first competition, and I used the Vortex for my wings entry. The Vortex, no doubt, helped me win first place with wings in that competition. I highly recommend you get a Vortex if you don't have one already. If you use the website link in my description again down below, it will take you to the website for the companies the guys who make the Vortex. They have a whole lot of other stuff on their website too, but if you use my code that I can do in the description as well, you get 10% off everything you buy until December 15th. So great idea for Christmas gifts, of course, right? Before we move on to our final device, guys, I would like to ask you if you would please reach down, hit that thumbs up button, give us a like for this video. We really appreciate that. And then in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you'll see my logo. There, or at the end of the video, you'll see my logo as well. If you'll click on that logo, the subscribe button pops up. If you hit the subscribe right there, I'd really appreciate that too. We really appreciate the support big time. Thank you guys for that. We appreciate it. For our third and final device, I want to show you something that will change your kettle cooking life altogether. All of your temperature control issues will be gone. This device is called the Spider Grill's Venom. This thing brings set it and forget it technology to your kettle. It turns your kettle into a live fire, wood smoking kettle oven, for lack of a better term. I say oven because you can definitely set it on a certain temperature, just like you would your oven, but you get the benefit of smoke flavoring, of course, from a Weber kettle instead of it being in your oven in the house. Now, I'm not going to get into all the technical jargon, but let me show you how this thing works. Spider Grill's Venom. Now, it's all one piece here: the ash can, the collar, and the control board. So when you get this, you will replace your ashtray or your ash can, whatever you have on your kettle, with this whole device here. It's all one piece. I call this the control board. That's my term, not theirs. There's actually a couple different ways to power this device. Now, I've got a battery pack here. It's a separate purchase that I love because it makes the whole thing more portable. But of course, it comes with a power cord. You plug it into the device, and then you plug your temperature probe into the probe port up here. I've got that up top there. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see these numbers a little better and see what we're doing. These two portholes here are for internal meat temperatures. But we're going to turn this thing on now. And you're going to hear, put the battery pack on first. Sorry, battery pack on first. I'm going to turn this power on. Here it comes powering up. Powers up here for a minute, and then goes black for a second. And then you push the button again. And there we go. And it's going to ask me, it's going to tell me what the temperature is. Now it says 173. It always does that for some reason. It'll change to 87, which I have a probe now in the kettle, but there's no fire in there, of course. Pushes the second button down over here. It tells me to shut the vent on the device, which then in turn opens the vent on the kettle. Now, it's defaults to 225, but I want to change it. Let's say I want to go 250. I hit it 250. I push this button again. Now, you hear the fan get loud. I got to speak a little louder because the fan's kind of loud.
tells you to leave the vent on top of the dome up slightly open, and that fan will run until it gets 250 degrees. It works great for that. I'll turn it off because it's so loud. That fan will run until you hit the temperature you want to hit, whether it's 250, 275, it goes up to 550 degrees. And it runs until the charcoal runs out, or if you have a battery pack, till the battery pack runs out. So imagine pairing this with a slow and sear or a smoke and sizzle for a super good cook, guys. It would be absolutely ideal for something like that. I use it all the time for briskets and pork butts, whatever the case may be. I'm smoking something, I'm using this thing. Now, I have 3 kettles and 2 of these because I do a lot of cooking, whether it be for videos or for customers or for just our family. I'm cooking probably 2 or 3 times a week on this thing. And this thing works great for that. I love it. These things are about $200 a piece, so they're not cheap. But if you cook, any amount of food, or if you like the freedom of not being chained to the device all day long, it's well worth $200. Now, here's what I think is really super cool about this. It is Wi-Fi enabled. I can change the temperature that I want it to read or what I want it to cook at from wherever I am with my phone. So if I want to go to the movies, I can go to the movies. If I put a brisket on at 6 o'clock in the morning and I want to go to a 10 o'clock movie, I can go to the 10 o'clock movie and control and look and see what my temperature is doing on my brisket. On my phone, I can change it from 225 to 260 or whatever I want to do right there on my phone. So it's very handy, very freeing. And we all know that one of the main things when it comes to cooking top-notch meat is consistent temperatures. And this does that, guys. It gets you a consistent temperature. We can't have that. It's hard to have that with an offset smoker. But I think you get the best flavor with an offset smoker. But this is the closest thing you can get to that. And also have the set it and forget it capability of a pellet smoker. It's kind of a win-win. You get the charcoal flavor and the wood flavoring that you're going to get with the Weber Kettle, but you also get the freedom of the set it and forget it like you would a pellet smoker. So I love this thing. I think you'd like it too. I'll put a link for you in the description. I have no discount codes or anything like that, but I will give you a link so you can go and read about it, learn about it. And guys, I think you'd love it. Great Christmas gift idea for someone you love or for yourself. But I think it's a great piece, man. I think you guys would love it.
Well, folks, there you have it. The top 3 most popular or most used devices for the Weber Kettle. I certainly hope that something I showed you today will help change the way you cook on your Weber Kettle for the better. At least hope you got some kind of value out of the video from today. Until next time, guys, I'll meet you at the smoker.